In this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law? Is it like the hand of God hovering above? At least it is true that man has no control, even over his own will.
And you think about it, it's no different than Casca, because Casca has been so traumatized that, like, she's completely shut down. Like, as a person. She's just gone mentally. And it's even implied slightly later that she doesn't want to, like, go back to the way she was.
そしてキャスカがいなくなってからエリカは一度も笑ってないんだ。それがあんなにはしゃいで
Like after what happened and after everything that she loved. Yeah, fuck!
まあガキンチョに遊ぶのが得意なんだけどね。それにガッツの
Oh, fuck! I love it. I'm sorry.
ガッツがここを飛び出していった時、俺
I think it's fun. Oh, no, Rickard met Puck before. Yeah.
ガッツに生きて会えるのか。もちろんそれもあったけど。 ガッツがもう俺の知ってるガッツじゃなくなってしまうんじゃないかって。
Like, after so many retcons, is he still the person I used to know? Now you're just somebody that I used to know.
それはパックのおかげであるところも少なくない
Yeah, Puck showed up and softened his edgelord
君が一緒にいるってことは
Yeah, see, comic relief is important. You can't just have rape, decapitations, death, blood, more rape every other fucking page in a comic. You gotta have some goddamn fucking levity. You gotta have a little chibi elf making silly faces. Or else you just kinda go insane as an author.
エリカを頼んだぜ。あれはな、俺の本当の
So it's like it's the same. Oh, there we go.
あれは戦で家族を
So yeah, no one crawled up on that old man dick. Don't worry about it. That was merely a crass implication on my part.
柄にもなく、生まれてこの方、鉄のことしか知らねえ俺を。 随分とまあ人間らしくしてくれたよ。けどな、やっぱり死ぬときは一人前のめりってのがいい。いい意見ってな、たとえ錆びついて生蔵になっても、その芯には決して錆びつかない。
Every single fucking thing this guy says is just a metaphor about swords. Like, we get it, dude. You're a blacksmith.
火に入れりゃ必ず蘇る。あのバカに言っとけ。俺みたいになるなってな。
But like Casca retreating into this like catatonic state almost. Not really. Like I am at a loss to think of another way to describe it. Is just as much of a like a giving upness kind, like it's half she's been fucked up, like the thing that she went through fucked her up. Like it's half imposed upon her and half she's like retreating into it for safety, just like Guts is retreating into his like violence and malice. Like he's scared of being vulnerable, scared of like really emotionally confronting what happened to him. So he's like, I'm at my place when I'm fighting for my life, and that's where I'm comfortable. So that's bye for 2 years. I'ma go fight dudes.
気休めかもしれないけど、戦場じゃよくこうしてたでしょ。
俺が憎しみ続けてる間、リッケルトはこれを仲間の死を受け入れ弔い、 新しい生き方を見つけて、こいつらしい健やかな強さで。
It's like, it's a story that, like, half of the appeal is very much in the shallow, oh yeah, so cool, so hardcore. This is kind of, like, antithetical, actually. Because the other half of the story is like, you gotta have more than that. Like you're kind of a broken individual if all you have is this hatred and violence inside you. Like, Guts is half glorified for his proficiency and half criticized for it. Because almost every character, whenever they see Guts kicking ass, doesn't go, aw yeah, Guts are so... They do, but that's not the extent of it. They also go, yeesh, that guy's fucking scary. Like, there's characters who both admire and praise him for being such a badass, and go, it's like he ain't even fucking human. It's the duality of man, you might say. The duality of being an edgelord badass and a kind and gentle, caring, mature soul. I don't know. It's also an imperfect story that whose author has, like, changed his mind about and rewritten over the years. That's something I always fucking hate. When people, like, analyze stuff. It's the worst ever with, like, Game of Thrones. Like, that's the most readily apparent one that comes to mind for me. Because there's, like, so many goddamn, like, theory crafters out there on the Hey. Yeah, look at how fucking many goddamn crossbow bolts it takes to kill one dude, and they're not even dying. 525. The reason Godo and all them don't gotta worry about, like, the same spirits that haunt Guts showing up for Casca is because they keep her in the mine, and the mine was made by elves. So it's like, it's safe there, by the way. Where people look at a story and they're like, oh, I'm a fan of the story, and I think the author is like did a really good job making the story. So instead of admitting that it has any faults, I'm just going to try and justify and explain away any little thing that doesn't make sense. And fucking Game of Thrones is by far the one people are the worst about, because they're like, oh, look at this piece of, like, this description of a character that contradicts how that character was described previously. What could it mean? Could it mean that this character is actually a body double and has secretly replaced that character and is simply like this? I'm not making this up. This is a legit example that people have actually said about fucking Game of Thrones, where one character was described, you know, in this kind of, like, you know, oh, she had this color hair and her hips were all wide and child rearing and whatnot. And then that same character shows up again later, and it describes her in a completely different way, and everyone went, oh, the sneakiness of the fucking author who's subtly and it's like, no, he just fucked up and forgot and made a mistake. Fucking authors can make mistakes. He accidentally like, it's a minor incidental character who doesn't fucking matter, and he forgot the way he described her before. It's not a big deal. But they fucking go and act like, oh, the author is so fucking perfect. George R. R. Martin's so fucking perfect. He makes no flaws. That, oh, there must be some secret hidden... These people seriously fucking think, like, there's the story that's like actually in the pages in front of your face, and then there's a secret hidden narrative that's hidden in the subtext, and you gotta read the lines. Is it 1,000 already? And only we, these theory crafters on YouTube, who take every single line of fucking description way too goddamn seriously, only we are privy to the true narrative. Fucking jackasses. Like, no, sometimes authors just fuck up or change their mind. Like, when, like, George R. R. Martin wrote fucking the original Game of Thrones book fucking, like 30 years ago. Holy shit, it's 2017 now. He wrote, like, Game of Thrones, the first book, back in the 90s. There we go. You don't think maybe after 30 years, he might... 20, 30, fucking, I don't even know. I'm so bad at dates. I feel like it's gonna be 2020, and people are still gonna be describing, like, World War II as being 60 years ago. We have not adapted to the new decade at all. You don't think after fucking 20 years he hasn't changed his mind and elements of the plot that he thought would be important when he wrote that first book have changed, and now he's like, oh, those actually aren't important. Now this new thing's important, and where I thought the story was going back when I wrote this back then doesn't actually matter, and it's going in a completely different way now. Stop fucking taking a fucking microscope to every little thing and ignoring the cracks that you see. You can either take a microscope and look at the story for what it is, a flawed creation of man, of a human being, or you can just take it at face value and not take it seriously because it's just a fucking fictional story. Can't be both. Gotta do both. I like taking the microscope, and that means I see the flaws, and that means I'm gonna talk shit when I see something that's wrong. When I see something that clearly you just fucked up. The duality of man. Yeah! The beast! Alright! Not yet. Soon. Soon. Remember how I talked about the manifestation of all of Guts's anguish and anger and pain and hatred? We're slowly getting there. Yeah, you dick. At least he's self-aware. And technically, the fact that he left is the reason things went to shit. If he hadn't left, Griffith wouldn't have had his little breakdown. He wouldn't have made those mistakes. We wouldn't be where we are now. You can kind of blame Guts for everything, in a way. Not that it's his fault that Griffith fucked up and also is an asshole.
当の昔にあの時から俺にはもうその資格はねえんだ。自分から始めた戦だったよな。こいつは俺が自分から挑んだ戦だ。けどよ。だけどよ。俺を焼いているのはこの黒い。
That's something I always appreciate. Whenever you have like in the story, you have like character development.
まだ胸を焦がしてる。
You have usually when you have a character, they start out in a flawed place. They start out having like like negative aspects of their personality, and then they develop, they undergo character development, and then by the end of that story, they no longer have flaws. Like they have reached the pinnacle existence of who they are. They no longer have any more to develop. That's not true. Like people are constantly, like we're all works in progress. Like Guts has changed dramatically over the span of the story, but he's still, like, he's not done yet, and he'll never be done. He can be an old man like Godo, and he'll still be like, the fuck's wrong with me? I gotta get better. I gotta stop being such an asshole. You're always, like, trying to improve on yourself. You're never gonna be like, okay, I have reached the pinnacle of who and what I am going to be as a human being. That's just not realistic. Not that story has to be realistic. I'm just saying I appreciate it when a story is like, yeah, he's changed and he's grown, he's become a better person, but he's still a little fucked up. Still a little fucked up. You don't just become a better person, then that's it, you're good forever. But anyway, as I was saying, like, I take that microscope, I look at a story, and I be like, oh, look at all this cool shit. Look at this bad shit you fucked up. Look at this shit where you fucked up at. Look at this thing where you tried to do something, and then you fucked it up. You gotta have both, and I think the reason you have shit like that, where you have these people, like, defending or apologizing or being in denial that something that they're analyzing or are a fan of has any flaws whatsoever, is because of this extremism, and I don't like blaming the internet for stuff, but it's really prevalent in the internet, where the instant someone criticizes something, the automatic reaction is, oh, just don't watch it then. Oh, you clearly hate it. You said one negative thing about something. You hate it. Don't watch it then if you hate it so much. No. It's possible to watch something or read something and appreciate it while still while still recognizing and appreciating its imperfect. Like, nothing's fucking perfect. Everything's, like, got something in it you can complain about. But not being able to countenance any kind of criticism. Being like, nah, shut up. You can't say a bad thing about something. It's perfect. George R. R. Martin didn't fuck up and make a mistake. He's laying the fucking seeds of this new revelation that will fucking change No, he fucked up. He made a mistake. Stop being an idiot. Just recognize that this is a fucking story and say, like, oh, this is a fucking contradiction or an inconsistency. And that's what it is. It's not fucking like, oh, the mastermind. Because that's how they treat it, and it fucking bugs me, and it's kind of like turned me off of that. I used to be really into it. I used to watch a ton of, like, theory videos about Game of Thrones and stuff, but after a while I just started noticing the apologism, necessarily, and it's just been like, fuck, these guys are all idiots. These guys are all pretentious, up their own ass jerk-offs, and I ain't gonna watch this shit no more. Yeah, I just say, because, like, people compare Berserk to Game of Thrones. Even I did that. Even I said, like, it's kind of Japan's Game of Thrones. But even that feels like, I don't know. It's not. I guess it's not necessarily unfair. The books did come out a long time ago. Hey, look, it's the Ark villain. Hey, remember how I said religion would start becoming more of a theme in this story? I do think it's great how they only start introducing this shit after we already were exposed to the truth.
ファルネーゼ殿。
Farnese
子供
殿
たちにはどのような処分がふさわしいと思われますかな。
They didn't like.
殺害を
If you had read,
家計か車輪引き刑が課されます。
ご名答。素晴らしい。さすがは早い。
usually when you read a story like Berserk, when like
大したご見識だ。
it starts introducing these things as they become relevant. It's not like during the Golden Age we started, like, we saw priests running around or we heard anything about what the religion of the land is. You can read through the entire Golden Age and there's no mention of any of that shit. Look at her smiling. Freak. And there's no mention of any of that shit. A, because he hadn't thought of it yet. B, because it wasn't relevant yet. Like, Berserk's world and the world building of it isn't one that Jay just kind of like... He didn't draw up a map at the beginning of when he started writing the story. He's kind of just making it up as he goes along. But because of that, it's actually, like, really great world building. Because it just starts introducing these aspects of it to you gradually as you go along. There's no need for, like, you don't need to sit down and have a fucking history lesson about, like, the history of the world of Berserk and all the different factions of it. Because when the story says that doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, and you don't need to know about it. There's no need to be told all of that information because it isn't necessary to understand the story that's being told in front of you. But then when the story does start getting to a point where that's like relevant information, then it's like, okay, we know that there is a divine element to this world now. We have already, like, okay, here's the eclipse. They built up to the eclipse, like, all through the Golden Age, they foreshadow the eclipse. So, like, you're literally showing, here's literal divinity in this world. And then you can kind of see him going like, okay, well, how is the rest of the world? Ah, Puck, you're the best. He didn't know. He didn't know nothing. It is great though because Puck met Guts at the very beginning of the story, and then halfway through, all of this history and story got retroactively put on top of Guts, and then we return to the story, and Puck's like, "What the fuck? Where did all this come from?" It's both like writing by the seat of your pants, where he's literally just making this stuff up as he goes along. Like, he thought, okay, well, now I want to have this element of the story come up, and he thinks of these new things. Oh yeah, this is a new thing. We got grenades. Yeah! Less effective, but quicker regenerating versions of the cannon. I don't think it mentions, but Rickard made those. That's an invention from Rickard, and it's probably not going to be reflected in the game, but he made Guts' cannon better, too. He, like, repaired it and added a whole bunch of cool shit to it. But I take this kind of like, I guess the way I look at it is kind of pretentious too, but the way I feel about stories is like, with a good story at least, it's sort of, like this story already exists, and it's just communicating itself into the world through the hands of the author. It's not that he's making it up, it's that the story is being told through him, and he's discovering the details and facts of the story as he's writing it. And that sounds a little hoity-toity, I guess, but I don't know. It's a case-by-case basis, but that's how I think about it when I'm writing, at least. When I write, I don't think of, I'm gonna make it like this. I think it feels like the story's just happening and I'm writing it down. That's a little bit what it feels like. So maybe it's a little too optimistic to think to attribute that to Berserk also. But I do a little bit where, you know, it didn't matter because that's not what the story was about. So all these like setting details of like the Holy See and what the religion of the land is, none of that was important. Like, it didn't matter to what the story was at the time, so we didn't find out about it. Because he didn't find out about it. Because he hadn't thought of it yet. He hadn't thought of the story where all of those details were important and necessary to be told. You gotta live in this fucking gray area of like self-contradiction and find your comfort zone there when you're me. Anyway. Like, what was my train of thought? Like, we saw the actual fact of what divinity is in this setting. We've seen, okay, here's the God Hand. Here's what the angels of this world are. And they're fucking, you know, by any description, they're demons. But, like, the thing people pray to and worship, that's it. When you pray, that's the shit that hears your prayers. Or probably not. Like their perspective on things is vague as fuck. But there's no angels or God. It's just Griffith. Think about that next time you're praying. Ah, shit, I'm just praying to Griffith. That piece of garbage. That fucking asshole. Man, it's not even hard to get 1,000 kills now. Yep. There we go. I don't know if they've said yet, but I mean, like, like the apostles, the humans who have made a deal with the God Hand and become demons, they exist here on Earth. Like, they're running around, so I don't know if it's ever said, but it might be implied that, like, the dogma, the scripture of what people believe religiously might, maybe. Could be, like, deliberately manufactured to trick the populace, to make them believe that there's that, you know, typical, oh hey, oh, Isidro, yeah, Isidro's great. Defeat the thieves and save the child. No, I don't really care. I'm just passing through. Like, it's never really been said if that idea of the scripture and all that has been manufactured by agents of the God Hand, by apostles, in order to make, like, the populace more manipulatable.
エコスケ、お前食い物持ってるな。お礼はそれでいいぞ。使わなくても。
お前エルフなのか。
Ew, what is that voice actor?
なんだあのバカでっけえのは。
They actually just got an adult man to voice act this character. That's kind of dumb. Usually they get women to voice little boy characters, right? It sounds weird when you have a grown man voice a child boy.
クシャンのやつらだ。囲まれてる。
これ、ガキンチョはこっち。
Like Puck. Puck is clearly voiced by a woman. Because he's a cutesy little mascot character.
ぶっ殺されんぞ。
Hey look, these guys, where have we seen guys like them before? Remember Salat? You should. Fucking destroyed. I mean, it doesn't feel like the God Hand, considering what limited we know about them, it doesn't feel like they care. It doesn't feel like they would order an apostle to construct these lies. It sort of feels like they're above that. Maybe if that is the case, if an apostle, like hundreds of years ago or whatever, wrote up the dogma that the religious people today now believe in the world of Berserk, it probably feels like it's probably like they just did that of their own volition, and the fact that it's something they can exploit now is just like a coincidence, or moreover like an act of fate, you know? Because they've already talked about, like, fate and destiny is a big theme that they go over in Berserk. The laws of causality, everything that is happening was fated to happen. It was preordained. Like, when the God Hand appeared before Griffith, they were like, hey, it's that guy who's going to do the thing that we know he's going to do.
お前一体。
So it's almost like the fact that there's Salat, yeah. That's cool that this little in-game scene, they're using the models and the logic of the AI and unit structure in-game to have a little cinematic moment like that. That's pretty cute.